Digital Thinker, and today we're going to go over list view screens. We're going to talk about Dataspies and using quick filters to search, also exporting to Excel, and the record view. All right, let's get started. Just a reminder that the different menus and the access levels are determined by your user group. So that's why my screen may look a little different than yours. So let's get started by finding the Work tab, going down and selecting Work Orders. All right, as soon as I got into the work orders, this is what is called a list view screen. So any screen, whether it's your requisition screen, your purchase order screen, like our work order screen, this is what is called the list view because you can see a list view of what records are out there. All right, we're going to talk about Dataspies to start out. So this is what's called the Dataspy right here. And if you do not have this edit button, that means they have not given you the ability to edit or add a Dataspy. So you might want to reach out to your system administrator if the edit button is missing. So what a Dataspy does is it filters the information based on the parameters that you give your Dataspy. So right now, as you can tell, I'm in all open work orders. This means no matter the status of the work order, whether it's open or if it's been canceled, all that work orders will be out there. So right now, I want to edit it because I don't want to see every work order that's out there. It might not pertain to what I'm doing. So I hit edit. All right, I want to hit copy and I want to rename my Dataspy. So let's say I just want to see work orders. Well, you know what? Let's do breakdown work orders. All right. So I want to change these filters right here. And I want to go back up top and put no filter just to start out, just to clear my filters. That way I start from a fresh screen. And I want to remove the parentheses. So you have to make sure you click in the field because you saw a little bit ago that I didn't click in the field, so it added it. There we go. Now I want to use the drop down and you can see that breakdown is the type of work order. So I want to find type. So you can either scroll down to type or you can start typing, and it brings you right to it. So now that I know I want to make it breakdown work orders, and I know I want to look by type because that is the type of the work order is a breakdown. So right here, you can have this drop down where you can equal something, does not equal, is empty, not empty. So these change based on what you pick to filter out. But since I want breakdown, I want to do equals, and it's going to give me the options for the types of work orders. So I want to find breakdown. All right, and I just want the ones that are open because I really don't care if something's closed right now. So I'm going to do and I want to find the status of the work order. Again, you can either scroll down or you can search. I'm going to go status. All right, so it should give me all the statuses that are out there. So I do not want any that are closed or canceled, but we're going to do closed for right now. So I just want the ones that are not in a closed status. Right? And then I want to sort. So sort allows you to sort based on the columns that are across. So I want to do work order. And then if I decided, okay, I want to do date close or date open, you can go through and you can do multi-level searches, which is great, depending on what you're looking for. But right now, I just want to buy work order, and I want the oldest work order, the newest work order on top. Now, if I wanted the oldest work order, all I have to do is click this Z to A, and you can see now it says A to Z, which would put the oldest one on top. But I want the newest one on top, so I'm going to flip this. Okay. Now, layout is great because layout is your columns across. Maybe you don't need to see everything, or maybe you need more information than what is been offered on the Dataspy. So you can easily pick okay, I don't need to know the class of the work order, for example. So I'm going to take this and I can remove the selected. Be very careful when you do add all or remove all, because that takes everything away or adds as much as it can from the available field to the visible field. So I just removed class, and I want to make this my default Dataspy. That way, when I come in, that is what I see every time. Now you can see that I have all of the breakdown work orders that are not in the closed status, but I still see canceled, and there's 20 of them. But I really don't want to see the cancel one, so it's real easy to update your Dataspy. So you're going to hit Edit, and I want to add a line, and I want to make sure that I don't see the cancel ones either. So I want to find the status again, right? And I do not want it to equal cancel. Hit save. So now I just see, I have one more rejected out there, but you get the idea. You're able to filter down from thousands of work orders down to 12 that I would like to look at. Makes your life a lot easier. Now let's say you don't care about breakdown work orders anymore. All you have to do, hit the edit. Now Dataspies are great because as long as it's not a global Dataspy, it only affects you. So you can have as many or as little as you want. And you can, right, since it's my default Dataspy, it's not going to let me delete it. So I need to change my default Dataspy. I'm going to go to all open work orders. I want to make that my default. I'm going to hit save. But I want to go in, and since I don't need breakdown anymore, I want to get rid of breakdown. Now the delete button appears, meaning I can delete this because it's no longer my default Dataspy or a global Dataspy. And something new is, and your system administrator will have access to this, is global group Dataspy, meaning that based on the user group, maybe your system administrator wants you to see a certain Dataspy. So I'm going to delete the breakdown. Yes. And it's as easy as that to remove a Dataspy and to add one. All right. Now you can see I'm back to all open work orders as my default. And when I do the drop down, breakdown is no longer there. One more thing I want to add about Dataspies is you want to be careful. I mean, there is an option for new, but once you click new, I want to show you what happens. All your filters go away. Your sort goes away, your layout goes away. So that's just something I would stay away from creating new Dataspies. You can if you really want to, but you lose all your information, you lose your filters, and you're starting from scratch. So I highly recommend not doing that. It's easier. I'm going to cancel new to just copy your record. Now, maybe this doesn't apply to you, and maybe the emergency work orders does. You can easily change the Dataspy right here and then copy that record, and then change your sort, your layout, or any other information you want to. Next, what we're going to talk about is searching on the list view screen. So all of these columns, you're able to use them to help you search and narrow down your search. I always recommend not to put all the information in at once, because then you might miss out what you're really looking for. Because EAM, it's how you put it in the system, or whoever is putting the information in the system. All right, so I'm going to look for a work order. For example, I want ones that are test. So I can type in here, and it brings me everything that has test in the description. But let's say I only want the ones that start with test. You can use this drop down, and it helps filter the information. So I want it to start with test. So right now I'm at 7. Once I hit run, now it only brings what starts with the word test. And you can use these fields all across here to narrow down. So if you're looking for, I'm going to erase this. And it's very important to make sure you clear your filters after you search for something if you're starting a new search. You can also do that by refreshing your screen by going up here to work and doing work orders, or just making sure that you clear it out. Because if you leave any information in these fields, you might not get the information you're looking for because it might not apply. So let's say I'm looking for emergency work orders. So I want 5, because you don't need to type everything in because spacing is very important. So if you don't space it correctly, so if I just put 5 and then a dash, but that's not how it's written, as you can tell, there's a space in between, I'm not going to get that information. So it's important to space correctly. That's always recommend just start with a 5, see what information you get. So that narrowed it down to 4 versus when we first started, we had 23. So I'm going to go to 5, narrows it down to what you have. All right, let's say these 4 is what I'm looking for. So I want to be able to hand this off. So you can easily print these work orders by holding the first one down, clicking the last one, and then hitting Shift. And then you can print these work orders. You can either do print preview or print. So this should bring all 4 work orders into one PDF document where I can print from. And there they all are. There's an easy way if you need to update multiple records at once. So all you do is highlight the record you want. And let's just say I want to highlight this 3rd one. So all I do is click on it and hit Control. And then you right click. You can see I have these 2 highlighted. I want to right click, update field. And I want to change the status because I'm looking at the status icon. So I want to change the status from ready to scheduled. And they're open and they're scheduled and assigned. I don't want to do in progress yet because I haven't handed them out yet. So I want to do scheduled assign. And then I want to click submit. And there you go. You get a message that they went successfully. If for some reason they don't go successfully, it will tell you that. I highly recommend doing small batches and not try to do hundreds at a time, just because it takes us much longer to update the information. All right. So now I'm in a priority 5, and I just want to see the open ones. And there's a reason I'm going to narrow this down a little bit further. All right. So now I'm down to 2 work orders. Something that's pretty neat, anything that has a list view screen and any screen really that has a Dataspy, down in this bottom right corner, there is a button that lets you export to Excel. All you have to do is click on it and open the file. There we go. Enable editing, and you're able to do anything you want to this Excel document with the information that you have. I always recommend this for like parts. If you're trying to find a part for a down, or you have a list of parts you want your clerk to pull, you can easily push that list to Excel, hand it to them, and they're able to find the parts that you are needing that day. One other thing that's great to use for searching on the list view is the quick filter. So I'm going to use this drop down, and let's say I have a work order and I have a breakdown work order, but I only want to see the ones that have the description work order. So I'm going to use this one. And you can search by any column that you have. And maybe a better example is, we're going to change this 5. We're going to remove it so I get some more options to help narrow it down. So these are just open work orders that we have today. And let's say I want something that has test in it. So anywhere in the description it has test, it's going to bring, since I didn't use any of these parameters to make it go down any further. So I'm going to leave it with test. And let's say I want anything that has a task plan in it. So putting in here, you might not always get it. Like if I would just put plan in here, it's not going to let me find that information because that's not how it was written. So I want to remove plan, but I can go up to this quick filter, find description by scrolling down or typing in. and I want to find anywhere that has task in there. And there it is. And that was your task work order. So you can use any of these across here to help narrow it down. One reminder I want to make sure people get, you need to make sure to clear your filters. Otherwise, you might not find the information you're looking for. So after clearing, I bring everything back for my Dataspy, all open work orders. I'm back at 23. All right, next we're going to go into the record view. So all you do is, let's say you want to know information about this work order. You double click and it brings you to the record view. So the record view is where you can find more information about that particular record. So these tabs along the top go along with that work order or part or requisition, whatever record that you actually go into. So I'm going to go over the toolbar right now because toolbar is great for this. So this is how you save a record. So let's say I want to create a new record, and you can see all that information is gone. Now, if I wanted to delete a record, and just a reminder, based on user group, some of these might be grayed out based on the access level that you have. So you might not have the ability to delete a record, but you click on it. So it probably won't let me delete because I haven't added anything to it yet. All right, the left and right arrows is your previous record and then the next record. So if you're jumping in between records, you can use these buttons to go back and forth. So this will bring us into the record, which I first started in. All right, copy record, just like it sounds. Now it doesn't copy every field, but if I click copy record, it should copy majority of them. And then you can go change the information that you need to change and everything that goes along with that. Now, to reset your screen, let's say you messed up on something, all you have to do is click this arrow going around the circle. That's your reset. Now, it only resets to what you save. Since I didn't have that copied record saved, it brings me back to a fresh one. You can see it's auto-generated and information is empty. How you typically go into a new record. All right. Now, if you want to print the record, now this takes you out to Adobe and you can print from there. Same thing with print preview. You can change what pages you print. Maybe you don't want the first page, or maybe you only want to print certain work orders. You can change all your printing settings right there. Okay, the question mark is help. And this will give you information differently than the help that you have in the drop down right here, because this help, this question mark help is specific to the screen that we're in. Now, when I click on it, it brings a pop-up window, which brings me to help on the work order screen and goes into more information that is out there. All right, I'm going to exit that. This is EPAC, which typically is used today is a training module that is out there. This is Screen Designer. Now, majority of people will not have Screen Designer. Screen Designer is how you edit the screen itself, and you can remove fields, you can add fields, but that is a system administrator level access right there. So expand left, and then you have split view and expand right. So if I expand right, it should take me to the list view screen. And split view does exactly what split view sounds like it does. It splits your view, where you're able to use another search option right here, and you can see the information. Or if I expand left, it's going to take me back to that record. If you're on any screen and you see a red star as you're filling out information, whether you're setting up a part, you're creating a requisition, you're doing a purchase order, a work order like we are today, anything with a red star by it, it means it's a required field. You can't move on to the next step until you've filled out the required fields. So right here, the description of the work order. Test, you have to pick out the equipment. I'm going to pick a random one for training purposes. All right, you can see I have not filled out the priority, but if I try to save to move on, I'm going to get an error message just reminding me, hey, you missed something. I missed filling out the priority. And I'm just going to call it important. And then you want to make sure you save the record. All right, anything with the blue dot is a hyperlink. So if I double click in the field, it should take me to all the standing work orders that are out there that I'm able to use. So if I double click on this one and then return the value, you can now see that the main building plumbing came across. And you can fill out the information as much as you have, but just a reminder, you have to fill out the required fields before you can move on, before you move on to the next tab. I want to save the information that I have. Always important to save. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is something called screen cache. And you might be going, what's screen cache? Do you see these tabs at the bottom of my screen? That's what a screen cache is. Screen cache is awesome when you're jumping from screen to screen and you don't want to lose information. How you add a screen cache is anywhere in a record view screen. And again, you have to go to each particular screen to set it up, and these have to be set up by user. It's not something that your system administrator can set up on a higher level. You actually have to go into these screens, right click, and then add to screen cache. But to make it appear at the bottom of the screen, you have to log out and log back in. I want to show you an example of jumping screen to screen. So let's say I'm putting in a work order right here, and I can't remember what part I want to add. So since I already have parts set up in my screen cache, I'm easily able to jump from this screen to the parts screen, search the list view, find what part I want a bushing, and then go, okay, that's the information I want. And when I copy that information and I go back to work order screen, it's right where I left off. Because otherwise, if you go back up to work and work orders, you're basically starting fresh. And you don't want to do that when you're middle jumping screen to screen or putting in a requisition. You want to be able to go screen to screen and leave the information that you're looking for, that you're going to use for your requisition, up on your screen available. All right, I'm going to go back into record view. And the last thing I want to talk about is audit trails. So you're able to set up audit trails throughout the system, and it's great. I always recommend it for parts because you can see maybe someone has altered the description of the part, or maybe someone closed a work order and they weren't supposed to. You're able to see that information by the audit trails. Now these have to be set up behind the system, so you can see that someone has messed with the status. That would be me. And when I did it and what it was beforehand. So you can see the event changes that happen. So audit trails are great just to keep track of information, maybe see what it was. Audit trails can be used throughout the system. Well, thanks for joining me today. And we went over the list view, searching on the list view, Dataspies, quick filter, your record view, your audit trails that you can use, the screen cache. I know that's a lot of information, but it's all great things that you can use in EAM to help you out on a daily basis. All right, I'm Stephanie with Digital Thinker. Have a great day.